Serena Sterling and I were married on paper, a merger of convenience. She needed a shield against her family's relentless pressure to wed. I needed a lifeline to pull myself out of a crushing debt crisis. After the wedding, we treated each other with the polite distance of roommates. She was an ice queen, cold and professional, and I enjoyed the peace and quiet. That was until Julian Thorne, her one that got away, who was rumored to have died overseas, suddenly came back from the dead. At a celebratory gala, Julian, eyes red with emotion, confronted her. "You said you'd wait for me. Why did you marry him?" Under the gaze of the city's elite, Serena suddenly turned, wrapped her arms around my neck, and kissed me. Amidst the mingling of warm breaths, I heard her whisper, "Hold me tight, don't blow my cover. I'm paying you extra for tonight." Later, Julian cornered me, sneering, "You're just a stand-in. She'll come back to me sooner or later." I glanced down at my phone. A bank notification for the transfer had just hit, followed by a text from Serena. "Help me piss him off. Double bonus." I looked up at Julian with a sincere smile. "But do you know how enthusiastic she is with me at night?" Julian's face turned green. Cutscene. I was 23 when I legally tied the knot. The marriage certificate sat in a drawer, crisp and new, like a fresh lottery ticket I hadn't scratched yet to reveal the better luck next time. My wife is Serena Sterling. Her name fits her perfectly, elegant, distant, and cold. Right now, this high-altitude flower was sitting across from me, looking at me with those beautiful, temperature-less eyes, holding a silver fork and methodically dissecting the broccoli on her plate. Our home, was so quiet you could hear the second hand of the wall clock marching forward. Tick, tick, tick. It felt like it was tapping right on my nerves. "My grandfather's 80th birthday is next week," Serena said. Her voice was crisp but flat, like she was reading a quarterly earnings report. "I need you to make an appearance." I swallowed the last bite of my rice and nodded. "Sure, no problem. Send me the time and location. I've already had a tuxedo prepared. It will be delivered to your studio this afternoon. Will it fit? We measured you last time." She paused, then added, "Your measurements." The conversation ended there. She went back to studying her broccoli as if it were a critical strategic objective. I finished the rice in my bowl, stood up, and took the dishes to the kitchen sink. The water ran over my hands as I leaned against the counter. We've been living like this for nearly 3 months. Serena and I had a contract marriage, signed in black and white, clear terms, 2-year duration. She needed a human shield to stop her family from driving her insane with matchmaking. I needed a significant sum of money to fill the financial sinkhole my family had fallen into. It was transactional and clean. After the wedding, we moved into her penthouse apartment. The view was incredible, overlooking the city lights, but the place was sterile. She took the master suite, I took the guest room. The hallway between us might as well have been the DMZ. She spoke little, and I enjoyed the silence. Most of the time, she was busy running her corporation, and I ran my studio. Before the marriage, I was a freelance photographer drowning in debt. After the marriage, most of the debt was cleared, and the studio was barely staying afloat. We were like 2 sardines packed into the same tin, maintaining a safe distance, try not to touch, try not to capsize the can. Occasionally, we had to perform for an audience, dinner at her parents', or big family gatherings like the one next week. She would give me a script in advance, when to arrive, what to say, how to smile, where to put my hands. My memory wasn't bad, and my acting was passable. At least her shrewd mother hadn't spotted any cracks yet. When I came out from washing the dishes, Serena was gone. Her tableware was neatly arranged on the table. The broccoli, she actually finished it. I almost laughed. The woman was disciplined about everything. That afternoon, the tuxedo arrived at the studio. Black, sharp cut, fabric that felt expensive just to the touch. I tried on. It fit perfectly. The man in the mirror looked the part. Dashing, polished, every bit Mr. Sterling. Too bad it was just a costume. Grandfather Sterling's birthday banquet was even more extravagant than I expected. They had rented out the entire ballroom of the city's most expensive hotel. The crystal chandeliers were blinding, and the air smelled of expensive food, alcohol, and perfume. The hum of conversation provided a constant background track. As I walked in with Serena on my arm, I felt eyes on us from every direction. Curious, probing, dismissive, envious. Serena wore a silver gown that made her skin look like porcelain. Her hair was swept up, revealing her long neck and collarbone. She held her chin slightly high, a practiced, polite smile on her lips as she navigated the greetings of relatives and business partners. Graceful, elegant, bulletproof. I played along, nodding when needed, smiling when appropriate, my arm lightly around her waist, acting the part of the quiet, dutiful background character. "Serena, this must be Caleb?" A handsome young man, indeed. A well-maintained older woman smiled as she looked me over. "You're too kind, Mrs. Higgins," Serena said softly. She glanced at me, her eyes warmer than usual. "Caleb, this is Mrs. Higgins, an old friend of grandfather's." "A pleasure, Mrs. Higgins," I said smoothly. "Good, good. You two are a lovely match." Mrs. Higgins beamed maternally. "You young people chat. I'm going to go see the patriarch." After she walked away, the tension in Serena's fingers on my arm relaxed imperceptibly. "Tired?" I asked in a low voice. "I'm Fina." She looked straight ahead. "Another half hour. We'll say hello to grandfather, then find an excuse to leave." "Deal." The birthday boy, Grandfather Sterling, looked spirited, sitting at the head table surrounded by children and grandchildren. Seeing us approach, his eyes crinkled with a smile. He held Serena's hand for a while, then patted my shoulder, mumbling something about treating Serena well. I nodded earnestly. The old man seemed satisfied. Leaving the main table, we found a relatively quiet corner to catch our breath. Serena took 2 glasses of champagne from a waiter's tray and handed one to me. I took it, but didn't drink, just swirled the glass, watching the bubbles rise. "Nice acting," she said suddenly. "Professional integrity." I corked a lip. After all, the boss is paying. She didn't respond, just took a sip of wine. The sharp lines of her profile softened slightly under the dazzling lights. Just then, there was a commotion near the ballroom entrance. Someone gasped. Whispers rippled through the room. Serena and I both looked over instinctively. The crowd parted automatically. A man walked in, tall, wearing a tailored dark gray suit, deep-set eyes, a high nose bridge, handsome in an aggressive way. But he looked pale, like someone recovering from serious illness or exhausted from a long journey. His gaze swept the room and finally, with laser precision, nailed us. Or more accurately, nailed Serena. The look was too complex: shock, pain, longing, and a suppressed heat. My stomach dropped. Serena's simple prenuptial disclosure flashed through my mind. "Didn't you say the one that got away was dead?" Looks like that intel was a bit exaggerated. The man walked straight toward us. His steps were fast, almost stumbling. As he passed, the buzzing of gossip grew louder. "Julian Thorne? Didn't he have an accident overseas? Oh my God, it is him. When did he get back? This is going to be a show. Everyone knows he and Serena were." Julian. I think I'd heard the name once a long time ago. Serena's white moonlight. Her great lost love? Supposedly dead? Well, damn. Not only is he alive, he's crashing the party. Julian stopped in front of us. He was close enough that I could smell the faint scent of disinfectant mixed with the dust of travel. He didn't even glance at me, as if I were just a piece of furniture next to Serena. His eyes were fixed only on her, reddening at a visible speed. His voice was hoarse, trembling. "Serena, you said you would wait for me. Why did you marry him?" This corner of the ballroom instantly became the center of the universe. All sound vanished. Every gaze locked onto us. Curiosity, drama-seeking, pity, excitement. I could feel Serena's body go rigid next to me. Her knuckles turned white around the champagne flute. Julian's question was like a rusty knife tearing open a carefully maintained facade of peace. My brain spun. According to the contract, I should play the considerate but confused husband, show concern, and then hand the reins to Serena? Or treat this as an unforeseen emergency, stay silent, and see how she handles it? In that split second before I could decide, Serena moved. She set her champagne glass on a passing waiter's tray with a soft clink. Then, she turned to face me. Those beautiful eyes, usually void of emotion, now clearly reflected my face and the shimmering lights above. The next second, she raised her arms and hooked them around my neck. She pulled down hard. Her warm body, smelling of cool fragrance, crashed into my chest. Her lips, cool and soft, pressed against mine without warning. My brain went static. It felt like someone had taken a sledgehammer to my skull. Wait, aren't we acting? Was this in the script? The sensation on my lips was real and vivid, tasting of the champagne she just sipped, tart and fruity. Her eyelashes brushed against my cheek, tickling slightly. I could feel the tension in her body, a slight tremor running through her. It wasn't fear. It felt more like burning the boats, a desperate resolve. The surrounding area went deathly silent for a beat, followed immediately by gasps and sharp intakes of breath that people tried and failed to suppress. A few camera flashes went off. I didn't know which blind media outlet had snuck in. Julian stood just a step away. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw his face turn paper white, his eyes instantly losing their light, leaving only a hollow void of pain. He swayed, as if his bones had been removed. Serena didn't deepen the kiss. She just pressed against me, lingering for maybe 3 or 4 seconds, or perhaps longer. My sense of time was malfunctioning. Then, she pulled back slightly, her lips still ghosting over the corner of my mouth. Her warm breath brushed my ear as I heard her speak, fast and low, a volume only the two of us could hear. Hold me tight, don't blow my cover. I'm paying you extra for tonight. Extra money, right? The contract, the act, a transaction. Almost instinctively, my arms tightened, wrapping her more securely into my embrace. My other hand came up, gently stroking the back of her head, a bit stiff perhaps, but hopefully natural enough. Her hair was cool and smooth. Julian was still frozen in place, like a weathered statue. Serena turned slightly in my arms. Her cheeks flushed a very faint pink. I didn't know if it was from holding her breath or the action itself. She looked at Julian, her voice returning to its usual chill, perhaps even colder, carrying a distant politeness. Julian, long time no see. Let me introduce you. This is my husband, Caleb Vance. Caleb, this is Julian Thorne. My former classmate. Former classmate. For words, light as a feather, drawing a distinct line in the sand. I played along, looking at Julian with the standard, polite smile of a husband, and nodded. Hello. Julian's gaze finally shifted to my face. That look, it was like an ice pick dipped in poison. Hatred, unwillingness, and a sense of absurdity he couldn't process. He stared at me, his lips moving, but no sound came out. The air around us felt heavy, oppressive. The prying eyes of the crowd were drilling holes into us. Serena, a slightly anxious middle-aged female voice, cut in. It was Serena's mother, Eleanor Sterling, rushing over. She wore a practiced social smile, but her eyes swept sternly over Serena and me before landing on Julian. Her tone shifted to warm surprise. Julian? Is that really you? What did you get back? Why didn't you tell us? Look at you, child. You've lost so much weight. She cleverly positioned herself between Julian and us, cutting off the awkwardness and gunpowder scent that had almost solidified in the air. Mrs. Sterling, Julian rasped, forcing a smile that looked more painful than crying. Just got back. Heard it was Grandfather Sterling's birthday. Came to pay respects. How thoughtful of you. Eleanor took Julian's arm, half forcing him to walk away. Come, go say hello to the patriarch first. He was just mentioning you the other day. Julian was half pushed, half dragged away by Eleanor. Before he left, he looked back at us one last time. That glance made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. The banquet continued. Music, laughter, clinking glasses. It was as if that heart-stopping scene had never happened. But the looks cast our way now carried a lot more subtext. Serena pulled away from my embrace, smoothing her dress and hair with steady movements. Only I could see that the fingertips hanging at her side were trembling slightly. I'm going to the ladies' room, she whispered, not looking at me, and walked straight out of the hall. Her pace was faster than usual. I stood there, grabbed a fresh glass of wine from a passing waiter, and down a large gulp. The cold liquid slid down my throat, suppressing the inexplicable agitation in my chest. Extra money. Yeah, this job was certainly stimulating. Serena was gone for a while. I stood alone in the corner, absorbing plenty of covert and overt stares. Scrutiny, sympathy, schadenfreude, and probably some wondering if the hat I was wearing was turning green. I ignored them, mentally calculating how much this unexpected performance fee should be. After all, a public kiss tongue. Oh wait, no tongue, just a press. Does that count as a premium add-on service not specified in the contract? I needed a raise, a serious raise. That was technically my first kiss. While I was pondering, Eleanor Sterling materialized beside me. Her face wore an impeccable social smile, but her eyes held no warmth. Caleb, she said, voice low, maintaining her usual reserve. Are you all right after that? I'm Fina, Mom. I smiled innocently, just a bit surprised. Was Mr. Thorne a very close friend of Serena's? A trace of irritation flickered deep in Eleanor's eyes, but her tone remained steady. It's all in the past. Young people, who doesn't have a past? As long as you and Serena are good now, that's what matters. She paused, giving me a meaningful look. Serena, that child, she has a cold personality, but she knows her own mind. Since you two are married, you are family. Some irrelevant people and things. No need to pay the mind, and don't ask too many questions. This was a warning and a verdict. Julian had been classified by her mother as irrelevant people and things. Understand, Mom. I nodded, looking obedient and sensible. Eleanor seemed satisfied with my tactfulness. She said a few more polite words, and then glided away to continue her role as the elegant hostess. A while later, Serena returned. Her face had regained its usual pale composure. No emotion was visible. Let's go, she said, concise as ever. Did you say goodbye to grandfather? Yes. We bid farewell to the key elders and, under a barrage of ambiguous gazes, left the ballroom. The elevator descended, the confined space holding just the two of us. The silence was slightly uncomfortable. I leaned against the wall, watching the floor numbers tick down. Just now, Serena spoke suddenly, staring at the blurry reflection in the elevator doors. Thank you. Part of the job. I shrugged. But boss, next time there's an improvised scene like that, can I get trailer? Just so I can adjust my mental expectations. She glanced sideways at me, but didn't speak. The elevator reached the garage. The cold air hit us, dispelling the stuffiness of the banquet hall. We got in her sleek black sedan, the engine purring to life with a low, pleasing hum. The car pulled out, merging into the stream of traffic that flowed through the night. Outside the window, neon lights streaked by light-colored ribbons. Julian, I said, looking out the window, keeping my tone casual. Is he the one that got away who tragically died? The hand on the steering wheel seemed to tighten for a second. Yes, she replied, pausing for a moment. I thought he was dead. Seems the intel was wrong. Silence again. 2 red lights later, she spoke again, sounding like she was explaining or perhaps stating a fact. Before his accident, he kept me on a string. I've seen through his games. Don't let it bother you. Understood. I nodded. No asking about privacy, no interfering in the past. I was just a temp actor paid to perform. Play the good husband, and the director's private life is none of my business. Still, I couldn't help but recall Julian's red, pain-filled, unwilling eyes, and that poisonous glance before he left. This wasn't going to end easily. The car pulled into the apartment garage. Parked, engine off. Serena unbuckled her seatbelt, but didn't get out immediately. She sat in the driver's seat, head slightly bowed, the dim light outlining the bridge of her nose and the tight line of her lips. Caleb, she said my name. Yeah. Today's events might have follow-up trouble. She turned to look at me, her eyes dark in the shadows. If he contacts you, or if there are rumors, ignore them. Leave it to me. Sure, I agreed readily. Whatever part you need me to play, boss, just say the word. Standard rates apply. She seemed to take a light breath, then pushed open the door. Understood. Her voice disappeared outside. I followed, locking the car. We walked to the elevator, went up, unlocked the door, and entered. The motion sensor lights in the foyer clicked on, illuminating the cold, tidy space. She bent down to change her shoes, her silver dress creating a cold arc of light. I'll have someone take the tuxedo to the dry cleaners tomorrow, she said. Okay. Good night. Good night. She walked to the master bedroom and closed the door. Click. The DMZ was reestablished. I stood in the foyer, kicked off my shoes, loosened my tie, and walked to the massive floor-to-ceiling window in the living room. Outside was the glittering cityscape, a galaxy of artificial stars. I touched my lips. They still seemed to hold a faint, cool sensation and the taste of champagne. Taking this money, why did it feel a little unsettling? Serena went back to her routine of leaving early and returning late, busy with her company. I holed up in my studio, processing a backlog of editing work, occasionally going out to shoot street scenes. We returned to our state of mutual non-aggression, but I could feel the undercurrents churning beneath the surface. First, the intern at the studio, a girl who loved stationery and gossip, sidled up to me during lunch with shifting eyes. Caleb, I heard. Your wife's ex-boyfriend is back, and he caused a scene at the Sterling patriarch's birthday. I buried my head in my rice bowl. Who told you that? It's all over the circle. She lowered her voice, face full of gossip lust. They say that Mr. Thorne and Boss Sterling were the golden couple back in the day, almost engaged. Then something happened. Everyone said he died abroad. Now he suddenly pops up, sees she's married, and has a breakdown right on the spot. Right? I drank a mouthful of soup, expression unchanged. The old man's birthday was lively, lots of people. I didn't notice much else. She pouted, clearly not buying it, but didn't press further. Next was Marcus, my diehard buddy and one of the few who knew the truth. He bombed me with a phone call. Holy crap. Caleb, you're good. Life really is all about the acting. I heard you're starring in domineering female CEO pampers her trophy husband and slaps ex-boyfriend in the face. Did Serena give you a big red envelope afterward? Buzz off, I laughed/cursed. Don't believe every rumor you hear. This, pretending with me? Marcus clicked his tongue. But bro, let me warn you. That Julian guy, I asked around. He's not a soft touch. He was a big deal in our circles back in the day. Arrogant, but capable. His family background isn't what the Sterlings is now. But a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. He's back, and it looks like he hasn't given up on your wife. You, be careful not to end up wearing a green hat. Got it. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Actually, I'm just a temp worker. 2-year contract ends. I take the money and leave. Their love-hate drama has nothing to do with me. Fine, Marcus sounded dismissive. But I'm afraid your wife's white moonlight doesn't see it that way. You, the temp worker, are currently wearing the title of Serena Sterling's legal husband. Your target, plain and simple. After hanging up, I stared blankly at the dense layers of edits on my computer screen. Marcus had a point. Some trouble finds you whether you hide or not. In the afternoon, I wrapped up early, intending to go to the supermarket. Serena rarely ate at home, but the fridge needed filling, and occasionally I cooked for myself. Just as I walked out of the creative park where my studio was located, a black sedan blocked my path. Low profile but expensive. The rear window rolled down, revealing Julian's pale face. He looked even more haggard than at the party, eyes bloodshot, but the gloom and coldness in his gaze hadn't diminished a bit. "Mr. Vance," he said, voice raspy. "Do you have time? Let's talk." I looked at him, then at the car that had clearly been waiting a while. "Mr. Thorne," I smiled. "I don't believe we know each other well. We'll know each other after we talk." He pushed the door open. "About Serena. I think you'll be interested." His tone was certain, carrying a condescending weight. I raised an eyebrow. "Fine. Dodge the bullet on the first, catch it on the 15th. Let's see what play this white moonlight wants to run." I got in. The car was spacious, smelling faintly of leather and air freshener, a bit cloying, oppressive. Julian signaled the driver to head to a private club. Silence the whole way. He leaned back, eyes closed, fingers drumming unconsciously on his knee. I watched the streetscape retreat rapidly out the window, wondering if this counted as overtime and if I could apply for an offsite allowance from Serena. The club was quiet, private. We had an independent room, scented with sandalwood. A server poured tea, performed a complex ritual, then quietly exited, closing the door. Just me, Julian, and a pot of boiling tea. Julian picked up the small teacup, but didn't drink, just gripping it until his knuckles turned white. "Caleb." He lifted his eyes, sharp as knives, trying to peel back my skin. "Do you know why Serena married you?" I poured myself a cup, blowing on the steam. "Why?" "Because the Sterling family pushed her. Hard." Julian pulled the corner of his mouth into a humorless smile. "And I was dead at the time. She needed a shield, a man who wouldn't pester her, easy to control, clean background, someone to deal with the family. And you fit the criteria perfectly, and you needed money. A transaction. Am I right?" He had his intel. Looks like he'd done his homework on me since he got back. "Mr. Thorne has investigated thoroughly." I sipped the tea. "Not bad. So, he leaned forward, the pressure mounting. "You know exactly where you stand. A tool, a temporary substitute." He stared into my eyes, word by word, cold with mockery and certainty. "You are just a stand-in. The person in Serena's heart has always been me. She might need to maintain this ridiculous marriage for now, due to certain reasons. But she will come back to me sooner or later. You'd best recognize reality. Don't harbor unrealistic fantasies. Otherwise," he paused, tone dropping closer to freezing, "when she doesn't need you anymore, you'll find yourself with nothing, maybe even worse off than before." The room went quiet. Only the kettle on the small stove made a soft, bubbling sound. The sandalwood scent was cloying. I looked at Julian. His face was still pale, but his eyes were burning, bordering on paranoid madness. He was waiting for my reaction. Anger? Embarrassment? Panic? I put down the teacup. Porcelain met wood with a soft clack. Then I nodded, voice calm. "What a coincidence. Mr. Thorne, what you just said," I met his slightly stunned gaze, "is exactly what I think too." Julian clearly hadn't expected this reaction, his brows furrowed. I looked up, giving him a smile as sincere as possible, perhaps even laced with a bit of pity. "However, Mr. Thorne, do you know how enthusiastic she is with me at night? I know you hope she'll come back to you, but do you think that under my care, she'd still want to go back to you?" "Ha ha ha." Julian's face changed instantly, from pale to iron gray, then flushed red. He stared at me, chest heaving, fingers gripping the cup so hard the veins on the back of his hand popped. He looked like he wanted to swallow me whole. I thought he was going to smash the cup or lunge over and punch me, but he didn't. He stood up abruptly, knocking his chair over with a harsh scrape. The look he gave me was full of extreme disgust, humiliation, and a trace of disbelief, as if I were something dirty. "Yep." His voice squeezed through his teeth, trembling. "Fine. Caleb, we'll see." With that, he didn't look at me again, turned, yanked open the door, and stormed out. The door slammed shut with a bang, shaking the painting on the wall. I sat alone in the room, leisurely finishing the now-cool tea. Her white moonlight was nothing but a wimp. TSK. This tea was a bit bitter. Double bonus. Hee hee. That roast was worth it. I took out my phone, leaning back to find a comfortable position, unlocked the screen, opened the latest text. Bank deposit notification. A significant amount. Memo. Monthly retainer and additional performance fee. Immediately after, I opened WeChat. Pinsha, Sirena Sterling. Her latest message, sent half an hour ago, was concise. If Julian contacts you, don't hold back. Help me piss him off. I'll double your bonus. Cutscene. Staring at the screen, I replied with a sticker, a Shiba Inu rubbing its paws together with the caption, Generous Boss. Then I screenshotted the bank receipt and sent it to her. Boss, payment received. Pleasure doing business with you. Almost an instant reply. Did he contact you? Just finished tea with him. How did it go? Not bad. Mr. Thorne looked pretty green in the face. He even paid for the tea. The typing indicator stayed on for a while. What do you want for dinner tonight? I looked at the sentence, eyebrows raising high. Is the boss treating? We're eating at home. You cook. I stared at that for a long time, fingers hovering over the screen. Finally replied, okay, I'm wrapping up. Should I buy groceries? No need. I had them delivered. Oh, conversation over. I sat in the tea room and poured myself another cup. What did Serena mean by this? Did she think my performance today was worth a home-cooked meal? Whatever. Food is better than takeout. I got up slowly and left. When I got home and pushed open the door, I smelled something good. Actual food. The kitchen light was on. Serena was actually wearing an apron, back to me, standing at the stove. Her hair was loosely pinned up, a few strands falling on her white neck. The pot was bubbling. She was stirring something. I froze in the foyer, not quite reacting. This scene was too surreal. The high-cold CEO cooking? You're back. She didn't turn around, voice slightly fuzzy over the hum of the range hood. Wash your hands. Almost ready. I mechanically changed my shoes, walked to the kitchen door, and leaned against the frame. Need help? No. She turned off the heat, pouring soup into 2 bowls. She turned and placed the bowls on the island. Simple lamb noodle soup, sprinkled with scallions, a poached egg on top. Presentation was actually good. We'll make do. She untied the apron, hung it up, washed her hands, and sat opposite me. I looked at the noodles, then at her. I didn't know Boss Sterling had these skills. Starving of learning while studying abroad, she said, picking up chopsticks. Eat. I sat down and took a bite. The taste was honestly good. We ate noodles in silence. Only the small pendant light above the island was on, casting a warm yellow circle around us. The atmosphere was a bit weird. How is it? She asked suddenly. Great. I told the truth. Better than I expected. The corner of her mouth seemed to curve up very slightly, fast enough to be an illusion. Good. After eating, I consciously gathered the bowls to wash. She wiped the table nearby. The water ran. I couldn't help glancing at her from the corner of my eye. Silver loungewear made her look cooler, but the way she looked down wiping the table was inexplicably soft. Damn it. Must be the lighting. Dishes done, I dried my hands and came out. Serena was standing in front of the living room floor-to-ceiling window, holding a glass of water. Hearing me, she turned. Caleb, about what Julian said today, she paused. Don't take it to heart. I leaned against the kitchen door frame and laughed. Boss, if I took it to heart, I couldn't do this job. Don't worry, my mindset is solid. Money for services, fair trade. She looked at me, eyes dark in the dim light. Just money for services? What else? I spread my hands. We put in black and white. She didn't speak, took a sip of water. Then she put down the glass and walked toward me. Step by step, unhurried. My heart skipped a few beats for no reason. She stopped a step away, looked up at me. Too close. I could smell the faint scent on her, mixed with a bit of the kitchen's warmth. Caleb. Her voice was very low, gaze direct. But we are legally husband and wife. I have the right to ask you to fulfill marital duties now. She stepped half a pace closer, almost touching my chest. My throat tightened. What do you mean, boss? She didn't answer, just raised her hand and hooked it around my neck. Different from the kiss at the banquet. Her eyes stayed open, watching me. Then she stood on tiptoe and kissed me. Warm, soft. I didn't dodge. When the tip of her tongue tentatively brushed my lips, I opened my mouth. My hands naturally found her waist. Thinner than I imagined, but soft. She made a soft sound, arms tightening. The kiss deepened, from tentative to entangled. Breathing went ragged. I don't know who started it. By the time I realized, I had her pressed against the island. Her back against the cold quartz, head tilted back accepting my kiss, eyes half closed, lashes trembling violently. Her skin was fine and cool. Her body shook slightly, cold or something else. Serena. I pulled back a fraction, saying her name. Her voice was husky, eyes wet, looking at me. You serious? What do you think? She countered, fingers gripping my shirt collar. Caleb, don't tell me you can't. I laughed. lowered my head, and kissed her again. No restraint this time. I picked her up by the waist. She gasped lightly, legs instinctively wrapping around me. I carried her to the master bedroom, kicked the door open, placed her on the bed. She sank into the soft pillows, hair splayed out, cheeks flushed, eyes shockingly bright. Turn off the light. She turned her face away. No. He leaned over here. I want to see you. She bit her lip, glared at me, but didn't object. Afterward, she lay in my arms. Sweat-dampened hair stuck to her cheek. I held her. Caleb, bonus. Triple it. I laughed out loud, chest vibrating. Boss is generous. She looked up, glaring. You're laughing? Why shouldn't I laugh when I'm happy? I leaned in to kiss her forehead. Great value for money. Her face turned redder, burying herself in my chest. Go to sleep. Okay. The next morning, I was vibrated awake by my phone. Grabbed it. Marcus. Answer it. I looked at Serena, still asleep beside me, and quietly got out of bed, walking to the balcony to answer. Hello. Holy crap. Caleb, you legend. Marcus's voice cracked with excitement. Do you know what the circle is saying now? What? They're saying you and Serena are true love, and Serena doesn't even want to look at her white moonlight anymore. I paused. That's it. Isn't that enough? Marcus lowered his voice. Key thing is, there's movement on Julian's side. Heard he smashed half his office when he got back yesterday, and went to the Sterling family estate early this morning, demanding to see the patriarch. I frowned, and he was politely escorted out by Eleanor Sterling. Marcus gloated. Heard his face looked terrible. Bro, you're set. Her mom's attitude clearly supports you. Hanging up, I went back to the room. Serena was awake, leaning against the headboard looking at her phone. Morning light filtered through the curtain gap, illuminating a few ambiguous red marks on her collarbone. I woke you. Marcus. She looked up. What did he say? Said your white moonlight Julian went to your family estate. She scoffed, putting down the phone. Just looking for humiliation. Then your mom kicked him out. Obviously. She threw off the covers, bare feet on the carpet. My mom cares about face the most. Everyone knows I'm married to you. Julian, a mere white moonlight who doesn't even count as an ex-boyfriend running over to make a scene, is slapping the Sterling family in the face. She walked in the bathroom, voice carrying through the door. I'm not going to the office today. Accompany me somewhere. Where? The mall. I paused. Buying what? Clothes. She opened the door, leaning half out, hair wet. For you. And, walking around, I looked into her eyes. Suddenly understood. Okay. The mall was busy. Serena held my arm, walking slowly. She wore a dusty pink dress, making her skin look whiter, her aura unusually soft. I let her hold me, matching her pace. That shop is nice. She pointed to a men's store. Whatever you say. Went in, picked a few shirts and pants. She made me try them on, waiting on the sofa. I came out changed. She looked me up and down, nodding. Good. Just these then. Paying. She moved naturally, and I didn't fight. Contract said she covered household expenses. Carrying the bags out, she suddenly said, thirsty. Bubble tea shop over there. You go by. What do you want? You choose. I bought 2 fruit teas, came back, and handed her one. She took a sip through the straw, brows furrowing slightly. Too sweet. I'll drink it. No. She took another sip. It's okay. We continued walking. Passing a jewelry store, she stopped. Let's go in. Buying jewelry. Looking. Sales clerks welcomed us warmly. Serena walked straight to the ring counter, looking down. Like any. I asked. She pointed to a simple platinum band. This one. Try it. You help me. The clerk took out the ring. I picked up the women's ring, taking her hand. Her fingers were slender and white. It fit perfectly. Very beautiful, I said. Try the men's ring, too. I tried it. Size was perfect. We'll take this pair, Serena told the clerk. Paid, packaged. Walking out, she handed the bag to me. You carry it. I took it. Does this count as a relationship upgrade? She glanced at me. What do you think? I smiled, taking her hand. Fingers interlaced. The cold touch of the rings pressed together. Serena, is our act getting a little too real? Her fingers moved, gripping my hand tighter. What do you think? I didn't answer. Bowed my head and kissed her hand. Her ears turned red. We had lunch at the rooftop restaurant. Window seat, overlooking half the city. Halfway through, Serena's phone rang. She glanced at it. Hung up. Julian, Persistent guy. Useless. She cut her steak. I've blocked him. What about your mom? My mom is more annoyed by him than I am. She put down her knife and fork. He went to the estate yesterday and pissed her off. Messaged me saying he's immature, doesn't know propriety. I nodded. Eleanor Sterling cared most about the family reputation. Julian making a scene was essentially rubbing her most cherished possession in the dirt. Served him right. After lunch, we went to an art exhibition. Serena looked seriously. I stayed by her side. Occasionally, she'd explain a few things in a low voice. I listened, but kept watching her profile. My wife was just beautiful. I could never get tired of looking. Leaving the gallery, dusk was falling. Home? I asked. Walking to the parking lot, just finding the car, a figure rushed over from the side. Julian, eyes bloodshot, staring dead at our interlaced hands and the shopping bags I held. Serena. His voice was hoarse. Do you have to hurt me like this? Serena was expressionless. Julian, move. I won't. He got agitated. Why won't you give me a chance? I'm back. I have the ability to give you everything now. What is this guy? What does he have? A broke photographer in debt. Does he deserve you? I stepped forward, blocking Serena behind me. Mr. Thorne, whether I deserve her or not doesn't seem to be your call. Shut up. Julian glared at me. You're just a villain who took advantage of a crisis. I laughed and slapped him right across the face. Took advantage? Mr. Thorne, when you were dead, did you think about whether Serena would be sad? Now she's moved on, found a new life, and you come back from the dead to dictate terms? Do you have no shame? Julian clutched his face, turning iron green, fists clenched, cracking loud. Serena, say something. He looked at her, tone pleading. Tell me, are you still mad at me? I had reasons back then. I can explain. I don't need your explanation. Serena's voice was ice. Julian, I didn't want to hear your explanation years ago, and I certainly don't want to hear it now. She took my arm, looking up at me with starry eyes. Hubby, let's go home. Okay, wifey. We went around him to the car door. Serena, Sterling. Julian screamed behind us, breaking down. You'll regret this. You will absolutely regret this. Neither of us looked back. I opened the door for her, shielding her as she got in. Closed the door, cutting off the hysteria outside. The car drove out a lot. In the rearview mirror, Julian stood there like a discarded rag doll. Feel good? Serena asked suddenly. What? Pissing him off. I thought about it, nodded. Not bad. Pretty satisfying. She smiled. Eyes curving, impossibly beautiful. My wife really is beautiful. Do it more often then. That's extra. At it. Julian didn't show up again. Heard he was sick, recovering at home. We kept wearing the rings, never took them off. Friday night, Sterling family gathering. Serena and I attended together. Eleanor saw the rings. Eyes flickered, but said nothing, actually treating me warmer than before. Grandfather was even happier, pulling me for several drinks. Caleb, treat Serena well. Grandfather patted my shoulder. Let me hold a great-grandchild soon. I agreed with a smile. Serena kicked me under the table. I didn't flinch, putting a rib on her plate. On the way back, she was a bit tipsy, leaning on my shoulder. My grandfather likes you. I'm lovable. Narcissist. Truth. She nuzzled my shoulder. Caleb, if the contract expires, what do we do? My heart skipped a beat. What do you say? I don't know. Her voice was muffled. You say. I looked down at her. Eyes closed, long lashes, flushed cheeks. Renew it when it expires, I said. Renew for a lifetime. She opened her eyes, looking at me. Really? Depends if you'll let me renew. She smiled, closing her eyes again. Depends on your performance. Isn't my performance good? It's okay. Just okay. Pretty good. I kissed her forehead. Sleep. I'll wake you when we're home. 1 month later, the Sterling Group anniversary gala. I attended as a spouse. It was grand, celebrities everywhere. Serena held my arm, socializing effortlessly. I stayed by her side, occasionally adding a few words. The atmosphere was perfect. Then Julian arrived. He had lost a lot of weight, suit hanging off him, face pale but groomed neatly. Holding a massive bouquet of roses, he walked straight to Serena. The whole venue went quiet. Serena, he knelt on one knee, voice loud, ensuring everyone heard. I know I was wrong. Give me a chance, one last chance. I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you. He opened a ring box. A diamond sparkled. Please marry me. The crowd went into an uproar. Whispers everywhere. Serena's expression didn't change. She actually looked like she wanted to laugh. She turned to me. Hubby, someone is proposing to your wife. I raised an eyebrow, stepped forward, blocking Julian. Mr. Thorne, you're kneeling to the wrong person. My tone was calm. This is my wife. Legal wife. You proposing to my wife in public. Are you legally illiterate, or just trying to be a homewrecker destroying a family? Julian looked up glaring. Caleb Vance, you're nothing but... But what? I interrupted. But a husband who loves her and is loved by her. I turned, grabbed Serena's waist, lowered my head, and kissed her. Deeply, ignoring everyone. Serena cooperated, wrapping her arms around my neck. Kiss or, he looked to Julian, smiling. Mr. Thorne, see that? She's already my dear wife. Please don't get hot-headed and try to be the third wheel destroying our happy little home. Okay? Then I held her, looking at Julian. Mr. Thorne, thanks for coming, but you're not welcome here anymore. I smiled. Julian knelt there, face going from white to red, then purple. He stared at us, lips trembling, trying to speak. Suddenly, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Bright red blood splattered on the white roses. Shocking. He swayed, collapsing to the floor. The crowd screamed. Someone called an ambulance. I held Serena tight, covering her eyes. Wifey, don't look. She leaned in my chest, giving a soft The ambulance came, taking Julian away. The gala continued. But the mood had shifted. Serena and I left early. Back home, she made me honey water. Good performance today. Bonus. Ad. She sat next to me. Ad for a lifetime. I laughed, pulling her close. About Julian. He asked for it. Her tone was flat. Doctor said acute stress, plus his health was already bad. He'll be recovering for a while. Mom said he's not welcome at any Sterling event ever again. I nodded. Good, Caleb. The contract. Boy. I kissed her. From now on, only my wife, no contract wife. She looked up at me. You sure? More sure than anything. She smiled, leaning in to kiss me. Then tonight, you continue fulfilling marital duties? Couldn't ask for more. Julian went abroad again. Serena and I went to the airport to see off a client. Accidentally saw him from afar in a wheelchair, pushed by an assistant. Skeletal, eyes hollow, looking like he wouldn't live long. He saw us, froze, then lowered his head, not looking again. Serena held my arm, turning to leave. Wifey, seeing your white moonlight like that, are you sad? I asked. Why would I be sad? He brought it on himself. Her tone was light. Our happy life is finally completely peaceful. You're really not sad? Sad about what? She looked at me. My husband is right here. I smiled, holding her tight. Let's go home. Let's go home. Story complete.